Hey guys, today I'm interviewing Jesse Divad. He's a musician. I'm going to talk to him about musician things and personal things, and you're just going to get to know him. So hope you guys enjoy Jesse.
Behind the bird. Behind the bird. Behind the bird. Behind the bird.
So, favorite movie?
American or foreign?
Either.
As pretentious as that sounds, my favorite film of all time is The Lives of Others, as it's known in its native tongue, Das Leben der Anderen. It's a German film. Came out in 2006. It stars Ulrich Mühe, Martina Gedeck, and Sebastian Koch. I think K-O-C-H, unless it's Coke. Didn't take German, but I love that movie. Favorite American film? I love City Lights by Charlie Chaplin. And I love The Deer Hunter, directed by Michael Cimino, Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken in an Academy Award winning turn, Michael Savage, and the cinematography by Vilmos Zsigmond is masterful. Although it helped that Michael Cimino was a painter when he got his degree in painting, so he knew how he wanted his landscapes framed. But that's a beautiful film about brotherhood. So those are my three favorites.
Interesting. Favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show, I would have to say Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Not because anyone has a gun to my head. That phrase, I would have to say, like, oh, you can just say it. Like, you're not in a hostage situation.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, I just loved the quality of writing, and I had a friend of mine confront me, why do you like this person who makes other people's lives so horrible? It's like, well, I don't necessarily like him as a person, but I like the way that the story unfolds. It's what I consider to be the modern equivalent of Macbeth. This person who is supposed to be a good person takes a slightly evil turn and has to keep covering up those slightly evil turns with more evil turns, and you see just how it eats away at the soul. And on top of that, there's some really exciting and suspenseful set pieces in there. And yeah, if it was a comedy, I would say the first 3 seasons of Arrested Development.
I can't get into that show. I don't know why. I think it's the narration.
Ron Howard, and now the story
Maybe.
of a family
I like Ron
who
Howard,
lost everything.
but it just bugs me.
It bugs you.
It bothers me.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I feel so rude. What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Good Will Hunting.
Great movie.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
And favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? Gilmore Girls.
The problem with that show is that they speak so slowly, and I just wish they would pick up the pace.
My mom hates it because it's so fast paced, but I love it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I don't blame you for liking Gilmore Girls. Although, gotta feel a little verklempt about Melissa McCarthy not being a part of the revival.
She was, actually.
Oh.
For 5 minutes. She was in the revival for 5 minutes. Or less. No, it was 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Give or take.
That's
Yeah.
5 minutes more
She
than
just
most
popped in
people
and popped out.
anticipated. Yeah, I mean, well, that's good. I thought, like, because everyone was complaining, like, oh, there's no Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah. In the last episode, she was in, like, the last...
Spoiler
20
alert.
minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it's a bit after spoiler alert.
Yeah. The embargo's been lifted.
It's been out for a while.
Yeah. Kind of like Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Favorite color?
It's different than the color that looks best on me. At least I'm biased. But my favorite color would be blue. But I normally wear red pretty well.
Yeah. Like, my favorite color is orange, but I would never wear it.
And why not? Because Arrested Development took that color for all their marketing.
I didn't think about that, but yeah.
And if that wasn't enough, it's also the assigned color for inmates.
True.
It's not like you can, like the minute that you wear orange, people are wondering, oh, what's the community service that she's doing?
I mean, I have an orange as the new black t-shirt that's orange.
That's good.
But that's it.
Right. And that shirt you can get away with. It's like, oh, I get it, she's a fan.
Yeah.
Not, oh, she was in the pen. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's still my favorite color.
It's a wonderful color. Orange juice is one of my favorite things to drink.
It's a pretty solid drink.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a solid drink. You just need to add vodka.
Mimosas, yeah.
Oh, or champagne. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Saddle Ranch has the endless mimosas. You know about that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of places have that now.
Oh. Man, I gotta...
Yeah.
I've been out of the saddle for so long. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite band?
Favorite band? Besides Rubber, Wrist, and Waist?
Yeah.
My favorite band, as predictable as it may be, there's a reason for the predictability of it. The Beatles. I mean, find me a band that did in 7 years what they did, and I'll say either you time travel to the future, and I can't refute you, or I'll just say, well, that was a pretty good run, but against this, I mean, how do you really compare? It's like,
Why do you think they broke up?
Why do I think they broke up?
Or
No, I think it was becoming more of McCartney's band, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
The White Album was really the beginning of the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had success on Sgt. Pepper, and that was McCartney basically taking the reins of the band after Brian Epstein had passed away. So that was wildly successful. They had the crazy thing with Magical Mystery Tour, which was them all kind of having fun but not really paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then White Album was, let's all do our own music. This is how I'm feeling. You know, George feeling one way, Paul feeling another way. Ringo quit the band during the White Album.
Yeah.
So I would say it began much earlier, but I think Yoko was a convenient excuse. At the same time, John Lennon had a horrible drug habit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that whole thing where they may not have liked McCartney being the person in charge. At the same time, he got things done, and he got things done as the Beatles for that band. So I think it was a matter of such an intense relationship needing a break, and things coming to an unfortunate head due to the personalities involved of everyone, and no one really being able to fill that void that Brian Epstein had as the manager, to be able to sort of operate as band psychologist and band manager.
Yeah.
So I think it was really good that they all were able to flourish under their own power. I mean, and it's that whole thing, I don't know if you saw the movie Boyhood.
No.
But Richard Linklater he gives his son a 2 CD set of, like, I forget what the album was called, but essentially it was like they took the early releases of all the Beatles solo albums,
mm-hmm.
and they sequenced the tracks in a way where it would flow like a Beatles album. Like, okay, you got the McCartney, now here comes the Lennon, here comes another McCartney,
mm-hmm.
Lennon. And it's a pretty good album. I mean, like, you know, you get Maybe I'm Amazed, you get Instant Karma, you know, so it was just a really fun idea. But it's that whole thing where, yeah, even when they were apart, the music that they made when they first broke up, not later on, but like when they were still in like that heightened songwriting and entertaining mode, made some really beautiful music.
Yeah.
And Hard Day's Night is a film that to this day people are still looking to in order to make films with musicians.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it was nominated for Best Screenplay as well. People don't really take into account the fact that they were able to tell a story about 4 people and have their personalities come through and not feel like anything was tacked on, that it was all moving the story forward. So, just the influence the Beatles had over things beyond music is also a reason why I think they're a cut above everyone else, or why I enjoy them so much. Because
Cool. What drives you to do better at something?
The fact that someone else will do it if I don't.
Okay.
Like, for example, Tom Kenny, the guy who plays SpongeBob SquarePants, he talked about why he participates so much. I mean, the guy who does SpongeBob, he does Adult Swim shows, he does other...
He's very busy.
He's a very busy guy. And he says, ultimately, it's that whole thing of, I don't know how long my career is going to be. It's wonderful that I hit something like SpongeBob. At the same time, I don't know when they're going to decide that's it. So I have to keep working.
Yeah.
And if I don't go out for it, someone else will do it. So the fact that there are many people in their 20s who play the piano and sing, and if I rest upon my laurels, someone else will pass me by. And so that's one reason. And then I would say the other reason I do it is because I enjoy doing what I do. And when you enjoy something that you do, you want to get better at it. If you don't, you got to take a long look in the mirror. Or maybe not a long look. I mean, you kind of know what you look like after 20 years. But you understand my meaning, that you have to have a conversation with yourself in terms of, why am I doing this? And I do it because I enjoy it and I love it. When people have confronted me with what should I do, in terms of them asking me that question, I go, well, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you love? And they talk about what they love, and they talk about why they have to do this, that, and the other thing. And I let them know, well, you say this, that, and the other thing are the things that are killing you. And listen, survival jobs are a real thing, and we do need means to provide for ourselves. Beyond that, you need to be treating your vocation or the thing that you love like a full-time job. No one really attained success on personal terms or terms that people could objectively use as being successful doing something that they hated.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you can look at yourself and say, well, I don't hate myself, I want to live my life fulfilled, hopefully you're moving in a direction that you're able to better pursue that.
What is your greatest weakness?
My greatest weakness? Foreign films. That's such a trite answer. My greatest weakness... There's a fine line between being gracious and being accommodating. And at times I've found myself to be accommodating when I really needed to hold the line. And so, whether it comes from musicians bowing out of gigs or just kind of bowing out of a certain process, on one hand, you can't make people do what they don't want to do, and ultimately you want to find a tribe that resonates with your vision. And on the other hand, people need to uphold their commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear that.
So there's a push and pull, and I think sometimes and being accommodating doesn't necessarily mean being accommodating to other people, but like musician, like in terms of music, but sometimes you can just get so caught up in accommodating people in your personal life, and then that takes a toll on how you move forward professionally. On one hand, you do want to be a good friend. On the other hand, you might be a better friend by doing what you need to do. And if they can respect that, that's a good friend. And if they can't, their time may not be as long with you as you anticipated. Unless you want to continue to accommodate them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a choice that you have to make.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it's a case-by-case basis. It's not...
Yeah.
It's not set in stone.
No.
Cut and dry.
So what is the meaning behind your single from last year, Golden Symphony?
Well, Golden Symphony, I wrote it with the intention of writing a song that I would want to hear at my own wedding.
Okay.
So the intention was the romantic kind of love that I would appreciate hearing if I was dancing with my betrothed as a first dance. And so the meaning behind Golden Symphony, it starts off in the first verse, I need you in my melody, and then provide protection from bills and bandits, and ask direction, stay to the right, we'll have confessions, make our corrections, and carry onward hand in hand. I feel you transforming my life, unfolding gold, reborn in glorious harmony. So now the melody is, now it's in this place where they're complementing each other at the same time. Not just someone coming along the same road as this person and joining them on the journey, which the melody might be, right? Mm-hmm. So now they're moving in sync, they're moving in sync even if they're occupying different spaces, right? That's what harmony is. You're operating in sync in different spaces, and the sound together is greater than, or is more complex than the sound of just the single note moving forward. And then ultimately, the last verse, I really enjoyed writing that one. It was very hard to write. But just how it finishes with unfolding Golden Symphony. That now this thing that was just a melody became a harmony, and now it's many things. It's many melodies and many harmonies taking place in the song, symphony in this instance. That there's so many things, but that they're moving together, and that it's even greater than just, it's even greater than just two voices in harmony, that it's just literally the whole song. Now it's all-consuming, and it's so much greater and grander than where it began. And so hopefully when I reach that day, I'll feel similarly.
Hopefully, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you working on now?
Getting through this interview. I'm working on an album, and the title of the album is In Memory of the Living, and I'm recording it in various churches, and I'm doing this because a few reasons. One, I went to a talk back after a screening of World Trade Center, which came out in 2006, and Nicolas Cage was doing a talk back. He was relatively sane. And someone asked Nicolas Cage a question asking how he chose his roles. And I think this was before the whole money problem thing came up, where he was just basically taking roles because he needed the money.
Yeah.
But, at that time, this was National Treasure era Nick Cage, where he could choose any project, but he always chose very different projects. So Nick Cage talked about how he spoke with David Bowie. And David Bowie, and he basically asked Bowie, like, how do you do what you do? I mean, it seems like you're able to do anything, and when do you make that choice to change? Mm-hmm. And Bowie says, I never want to get too comfortable with myself. And so when he feels like he's too comfortable in a certain, or at least when he, because he unfortunately passed, so when he felt like he was in a place where he was getting, I guess, complacent or comfortable, that's when he decided he needed to make a left turn. So Nick Cage sort of carried that through, and that was a big takeaway for me as a, let's see, I was 16 years old listening to that, on my way to 17. And I really admired David Bowie's career and what he did. I mean, as much variety as the Beatles catalog, and brought such a unique element to performing live. That's one person I wish I could have seen live, the other one being Prince and Michael Jackson. Okay, there's a few others, but the point is, I definitely wanted to see David Bowie. Actually, when I was 2 years old and I was in a stroller, apparently, my mother bumped into David Bowie. So I did have a Bowie encounter. I'm just too young to recount it. Right?
Totally fun.
It does. But, so, when I made the first album, which was Healing Hands, I could take up a whole interview, but suffice it to say that I just needed to record the music because it had been many years of amassing a catalog and not recording one thing beyond a demo level. And so I was set to change that. And in the spirit of the Beatles, especially their later work, and being a huge fan of Brian Wilson, Pet Sounds, all that studio work, I was not closed off to the idea of building the songs track by track in the studio. So, me and Fernando Perdomo, who's co-producer and recorder engineer and guitar player extraordinaire, he heard me play a song called The Best Man, me and piano. He said, I'd love to record, like, do you have that song recorded? And, you know, I was quite sullen, because I said, no, I don't. He's like, contact me, we'll do it. I was like, great.
Yeah.
Sean Valentine, who I grew up going to church with, he laid down the drums, and my good buddy Joel, he laid down guitar. We had a band for a little while, kind of fell out, but he came back for the recording, and so anyhow, each track was kind of built like that. So like I would lay down the piano, I would sing, drums would happen, and then everything else would be built on top of it. Basically how the whole album was recorded. Golden Symphony, same thing. But that was with Phil Galoni. And the story behind that is also kind of fun. Another interview. Suffice it to say, within Memory of the Living, I wanted to have a live band feel, so I wanted to record as many elements together as possible. So I've recorded 4 songs in that sort of style. I'm not doing a Beatles Let It Be, where the Beatles are like, oh, we're just going to do this and have no overdubs. No, there'll be overdubs, but there's a certain intangible factor when there's a band in sync and you're hearing it like that. And I wanted that to be the sound that distinguished it from the previous record. So that was one thing. Another thing I wanted to do with the record is I wanted to have a conversation between the church and the culture. And by recording in various church spaces, I can hopefully encourage there to be openness from both sides, towards one from the church towards artisans, and the other one from artisans or the culture to the church. The Renaissance was responsible for a ton of really great art. A lot of it was patronage by the church. There's a lot of awful things that happened with the Renaissance in terms of church politics, but I think that you can glean what's good. And I think that valuing art and valuing the cultivation of people's individual expression is a great way to show people that you care. That's why we invite people to shows.
Yeah.
You know, and so I feel that church spaces, generally speaking, 6 days a week, don't occupy their space as well. And I think it would benefit the church, universally speaking, to allow for the cultivation of art. Whether it doesn't have to be recording, but like if people want to take piano lessons and people go, oh, well, there's choir. It's like, yeah, choir's great. That's one thing. That's like the other thing that the church does. But you know, artisans aren't just musicians. They're also sculptors. They're also painters. Mm-hmm. They're also directors and photographers. And I think it would be a really wonderful way to have that conversation. And I think it would provide a lot of healing as well.
That's awesome. That's a great idea.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. Was there a third reason? Or
third reason?
Yeah.
The conversation between the church and recording live, so doing it differently there. So yeah, I mean, I really kind of think I wrapped up reasons 2 and 3 in that one.
Yeah, okay.
Just in the sense of like, I'm recording different church spaces, just to kind of show that musicians should not be afraid to, as long as they're respectful, of course, that goes for any place that you record. But to look at the church as a place to record, and you know, maybe you can employ the reverb because of the architecture of the way the church is, the microphones, you know, that you use. But yeah, it's to basically have a conversation between the church and the culture of, this is what could be happening, and this could be a really great thing.
Cool.
So even if people listen to my album and they go, well, you know, the bigger message was what was important. And it paved the way for these great masterpieces. Like, so long as it's a catalyst to people opening themselves up, whether it's the church to the artist or the artist to the church. And I think that would be great. I think the culture for, in some respects, is kind of starved for that sort of religious experience. And I know people hate religion, but at the same time, when you go to a concert and you get everyone in unison participating and throwing their arms up in surrender, you may not like religion, but you definitely like church.
So thank you for this interview.